For many years, I drove on this freeway and in this direction.
Hola, hola.
So I'm over here giving out tortas to my friends from the dealership. What are the chances that you come to service and you bump into your cousin and your aunt? Say hi. They want to be famous too, so I'm going to put them on the YouTube vlog. This place was home to me for 3.5 years. Just standing out here, we used to call it, like, if you're a pájaro en el alambre, a bird on a wire, just hanging out here waiting for somebody to come in so they could buy a car and we could earn a living. So I decided to make this video here to share with you where exactly the dream and the idea of buying an RV and driving it across the country with my kids was born. Many years ago, 7.5 years or so ago, I was probably in this general area with a good friend of mine who was about to retire. And he was telling me about what he had planned to do. And I started asking him, what is it specifically? Like, what is it that you're gonna be doing throughout this time that you're not gonna have anything else to do other than nothing? And he said, I'm gonna go to the gym every day. I'm gonna take care of myself and I'm just gonna hang out and do nothing. To me, I thought that was weird. This guy is a super nice guy and he's in incredibly good physical shape. So I thought to myself, well, why don't you travel? Why don't you do all these other things? And he's like, well, I'm not really into that stuff. But that conversation was enough to trigger some thoughts on my end and decide what I wanted to do. Because I started thinking, well, what am I gonna do when I retire? And I started thinking, well, I would love to travel the country. I would love to jump into a car or a van or an RV and then just travel everywhere, hit every state, and maybe go south into Mexico and then travel all of Mexico and then into South America and Central America and all that stuff. But then I said, why am I gonna have to wait? Well, the reason why I was gonna have to wait was because I had a job that I couldn't leave for that long extended period of time. When you're in sales, you can't just get up and leave because your business and your paycheck is dependent on you being at a specific place. In particular, at a car dealership, you can't just leave and have somebody else take care of your business. So I started really thinking to myself, how could I pull this off? Because I decided at that moment that I was going to make that trip while I was still a little bit on the younger side and with my 3 boys. So I set a deadline. I said, okay, I'm gonna make the trip in which we're gonna go cross country, hit every state with my 3 boys before my oldest turns 16. So the idea was to do it a couple years ago. One thing or another, it got very challenging. I couldn't. My business wasn't where it was supposed to be, that I could actually disengage from it that long. And then we programmed it for March of 2020. Now the pandemic hit and it just kept pushing things off. We were thinking we might not be able to pull it off at all. We were thinking, you know what, it's gonna probably be until 2022. And then it's one of those things, it's like a blessing in disguise, as they say. And at the same time, you start realizing that things always align when you set your goals and you're very clear about your goals. Because what ended up happening is that my business blew up during the pandemic. I realized that the slow season is in the winter months, but then you have the issue of the kids' school. But then because of the pandemic, my kids are still going on online learning and we decided to homeschool. So now you have like this perfect mixture of, we're gonna be able to travel the country. My business is gonna continue to flourish and grow because everything is set in place in the right way. The kids don't need to be here because of school. They can literally do all of their homework and their schoolwork in the RV wherever we're at in the country. So why not? And we decided, you know what? It's time to make this happen. Let's do it. Let's do it by the end of 2020. And that's what we're doing. We put everything in traction. We started moving things. Now we have an RV. We're getting our car serviced. We're gonna buy a tow dolly to take it with us. And we're gonna start our trip in the next 5 days or so. And it's really exciting. And like I said, that's why this place holds a special place, because this is where the idea was born. Oh man. It is nice and shiny. They clean it up for me on the inside too. Oh my God, this is like VIP treatment. In life, it's more about who you know than what you know. Man, they cleaned it up really good. I'm so happy.